All right, boys, your old team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not a lot of people are giving them much of a chance versus the Rangers, but after 3 games, they have a 2-1 lead, and most impressively, they've done it with their third-string goalie, Louis Domingue. This is an unreal story. They had a wild and controversial overtime win. A lot of people thought that goal should have counted, myself included. We talked about it earlier. Rangers come back game 2, then Pittsburgh game 3. Biz, what do you got on this one for us, buddy?
Oh my goodness. Well, we talked about it, we did the live stream on Tuesday.
Oh,
and aren't we doing another one with Pittsburgh and New York coming up? Because Witt's heading to NYC.
Yes, Monday night
or tonight when you're listening.
Tonight, Monday night at the Hoboken Gambling House, and you can watch that stream on the Spittin' Chiclets Twitter or the Spittin' Chiclets YouTube. We'll have Glenny Balls, we'll have Avery, we'll have Frank the Tank, we'll have Stu Feiner. We got a crew coming back, so we're excited.
Yeah, so we weren't able to talk about it on that the first podcast with playoffs because they hadn't played yet. That fucking idiot Avery. They scored the 2 first goals. He thought the game was over. He forgot that Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin played for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But, that's what you deal with sometimes, these millennials. He's also the guy that Shesterkin said Shesterkin was better than Vasilevsky. So I don't know what kind of drugs you guys are doing in NYC when you're hanging out, Grinelli, but tell him to tone her down.
Help me out.
Sidney Crosby now looks like a man possessed. He looks like he's aware that they're probably not going to be able to bring this core back and knows that this is his last dance. We've referenced it many a times throughout the season. I think if he would have got the full 82 games in, he would have been in the Hart conversation for how he's played. The 2 passes he made to Guentzel, absolutely nasty. Moving forward, the performance he had at the end of game 3 at home with those
third period was maybe the best period of his career.
I whipped my cock out behind the scenes at TNT, and I was doing helicopter cock, just like George Thornton said he was going to do when he scored 4 goals. When he did that between the legs, even if I don't care if it was an empty net or 2. I know you Rangers fans are probably punching your fucking steering wheel like Rick from Red Deer when both teams from Alberta lose. But, buddy, the on-ice awareness, not only to make that play, but to rag time. And all you kids at home, you know what makes him still one of the best, if not the best player in the league? The selflessness, the offensive zone shifts below the goal line, eating the clock, not extending the shift in the ozone, not taking a crack at the net again, just simply eating clock when they were up 5-4. He gets off, allows fresh bodies to come on the ice to the ozone to continue the offensive onslaught to rag time. And then what can Sullivan do because he's taken those smart short shifts? He could put him right back out there, and he's got just as much pep in his step. He's a hockey genius. It was a treat to watch, considering how much hate I've gained throughout the course of this season for you Rangers fans. Even though at the beginning of the year I said you guys are going to make playoffs, and I liked your team, you jump on me about the Capo Caco goal. I already told you to shut the fuck up about that one. I don't even care if I have a bald head on television. As long as you guys lose this series to the Pittsburgh Penguins, I'll go to bed sleeping like an angel.
Dude, I picked them and I want them to win. Want them to lose more than anything. I hate them.
The Rangers fans or just them in general?
I might make a statement that I think I like Islanders fans better.
What?
Rangers fans are fucking... Harry from Hell's Kitchen is a fucking asshole. These people are so dumb. I'm convinced that 99% of Rangers fans never played hockey, which is fine, right? But they're so opinionated on every little call. Avery ruined Rangers fans for me. It's all Avery's fault. How he watched that game with you guys at the stream, what an idiot.
He was yelling in my face.
Dude, he's listening to music before the game. Do these Rangers fans think they're playing?
Hey, you know what we used to say about guys who used to put their earbuds in the locker room before games? Biggest fucking losers in the world.
Because they're not listening to the team music. Losers.
Yeah. Disrespecting the team DJ and not on the same page as a player because he's a selfish fuck. And that's why I called the entire fan base and also the Rangers a bunch of fugazis. I've gotten texts about it too. People love that I called them the New York Fugazis.
That should be a t-shirt. Series is far from over. I'll say that.
Yes.
I feel like Shesterkin's really going to bounce back.
I got a question for you.
Jake Guentzel, though. You know what somebody said to me watching the game? Jake Guentzel he doesn't even kind of look like anything special. You know what I mean? Off the ice, on the ice, like he's not the fastest player. He's not the biggest guy. He's just a hockey player. He just knows the game. He knows how to play. He knows where to go. He's got 30 fucking goals in 54 playoff games.
Yeah.
I mean, the pace that this guy scores when the games become more important and bigger and the pressure gets higher, it's wild to see. And the Penguins, you shout out Mike Sullivan too. That's a well-coached team, because a lot of teams blowing that lead and going into the third period, even with the intermission, they're on their heels. They're kind of panicking. We were up 4-1. We had this game in the bag. Now it's 4-4. They came out and had the best period of their season. Like I said, might have been Crosby's best period of his career. He dominated play. And unfortunately for Rangers fans, I mean, Georgiev lets in a stinker. Oh, what a bad goal, RA.
Brutal. Especially when you got fucking money on the Rangers. That was an ugly goal, especially when they come back being down 4-1. Brutal, dude. But it's not over, like you said. There's a lot
I just want to touch on Guentzel quick. There's 3 things you know about Guentzel. He's got a huge rope.
Yeah, fact.
Huge rope, apparently. He loves to gamble. Loves hitting the
table. We saw him at the tables.
He'll take action wherever you want it, and he scores goals in the playoffs. I want to ask you a question. Rick Tocchet asked me this one. He goes, you got the Vezina winning goaltender on the bench. His team hung him out to dry in the first period. You saw the video of him when the coaches were walking out onto the bench for the second period. They gave him the tap. They're like, hey, buddy, we fucked you. We were not ready to play. We got dummied. We got bent over, and give everybody a sniffer in the locker room. So they march back. I think that Georgiev only had to make 5 saves in that second period. Tocchet goes to me. He goes, now that you tie that game and you got all the momentum back, he goes, do you go back to your Vezina winning goaltender? And I said, I think that I don't think that has ever happened in hockey history when a goalie has gotten yanked and then the team has marched back to tie it. And then between periods, you throw back out the other guy. It's so bizarre to even think about, but he's like, buddy, you got the Vezina winning goaltender. And the reason why I said no, too, is because I really liked Georgiev's game after the deadline. He was struggling there a little bit before the deadline. And you don't know sometimes like what guys are thinking, because his name was out there for trade bait. I may be dead wrong, but I could have sworn I saw it out there. You know, he could have been a guy they could have traded away to add a major piece. They didn't end up doing it. And after that, I felt he really settled in towards the end of the season. But Whit, you just said it, like that goal was an absolute stinker. We know Shesterkin's making that save. Would you even consider that in a million years doing that move?
No, I wouldn't, because with goaltending, I feel like so much of it is mental preparation and the warm-up that goes into it and the entire game day routine in terms of playing in a game. And I know to come in like as a goalie's injured or is having a rough game or the team needs a spark, it's different. But then to go back in when you've kind of shut off, like, all right, my night's over. I'll tell you what, though, I've told this story before. Cup Finals, Game 5 in Detroit, Gonchar hurt his back in the second period. Like early in the second period, went in the locker room, all second period, gets showered, gets into his suits, getting rehab, trying to get ready for Game 6 if we win. Third period, same thing. First overtime, it starts like loosening up at the end. Second overtime, he gets his shit back on, went out and assisted on the game winner. So players maybe it's possible. That's obviously an injury, so that's kind of a crazy story. Goaltending, it would have been weird and kind of almost weird for the team, too, if Shesterkin's back in. And, like, Georgiev, yeah, he only had to make 5 saves, but he made the saves. And I mean, it's an original thought by Talk, but I can't see.
As a head coach, too, I was like, well, like, would you have done? You know, it's different to say that you might have done it than to actually do it in a game. And there's probably a million other things on the coach's mind, other than switching goaltenders after he's already done it. You talked about Sullivan and having his team prepared. Did you see the clip of him having the pregame speech in the locker room? No gray area with that guy, and They follow orders well, and they went out there and simplified puck below the goal line, win the battles, and then, you know, find the opportunities where they are, and they did just that. One guy I wanted to touch on for the Penguins, Malkin. He's been very hot and cold this series. bad turnovers in game one, but he did have that assist backdoor to Rust, and then he ends up getting the tip in and the third overtime. He was invisible in game three for the first 40 minutes, but he ends up getting on the forecheck. And when Heinen, is it Heinen?
Yeah.
When Heinen scored that goal, the whiff, he's the first guy in on the forecheck. Yep. He makes the play. So regardless of how hot and cold his season might have been and how hot and cold he's been in playoffs, it's all about making the right play at the right time. And he's done it. So if they could get him going more on a consistent basis, though, and maybe even getting back to like 75% of the way he was, I think it was their first cup run. Remember, like when he played against Carolina, that like when he came out from behind the net for the hat trick and his parents were there. If he can get to 75% of what Malkin was at the top of his game, I think that the Pittsburgh Penguins are a force to be reckoned with. I think I had one other note.
Domingue, it's an issue though. I mean, he's had a tough.
Yeah,
he's playing good, and cool story with him eating legit spicy pork at intermission during the triple overtime game because he didn't think he was going in. But it's going to be very hard for them to advance and do anything if he's their goalie. I know it sounds mean. It's just, he's not.
No, it's not mean. Tender. He's played well. I think that the Rangers are making him look better. When they go glove side on him, he lets in weak ones. You saw it. The first
Panarin one.
The Panarin one was not a strong goal, guys. I know you're thinking, he went upstairs. It was a weak goal, glove side. And that was, in fact, the short side, too, where the defenseman ended up taking away the far side of the net. So it's like, buddy, like, get your angle. That's like PKing 101. You take the far side of the net, allow him the short side. You only have to worry about half the net. Well, get over there. What I was perplexed about is I think they had 3 other quality scoring chances in that game right after they scored that weak one on the glove in game 3. And every time they went blocker side or low blocker on the other side, where I'm like, expose this guy's glove. Like the scouting reports out there. Like I was even talking to Talk. I said, like, what? And he goes, man, he's not strong glove side. And that's the scouting report on him. And like you said, I don't want to be mean. It's just like, that's what it is, man. He's a third string goalie. But to go back the other way, it is a great story. And when they've needed the saves, he's made them. Am I a little bit worried moving forward if they don't either get Jari or DeSmith back? Now I'm hearing DeSmith is done for playoffs.
Yeah, core surgery.
So
correct.
Okay, so it's probably like a hernia or something, because everybody kept saying cramps on the broadcast, and then I guess people were a little bit critical of the fact. I want to say it was a former goaltender that had, or I think it was Lundqvist. Lundqvist on the Rangers broadcast was pretty critical of coming out of the game for just cramps. So turns out it wasn't, but I was like, I mean, you're a goalie. Like if you're getting cramp in your groin, like what the fuck are you going to do?
When you guys have played on teams, when you have a goalie who is, not your number one goalie, maybe a third string guy, I mean, the team plays like a little harder for him, though. I mean, they go out because they know they got to like kind of sort of make up for the fact he's not a 1A goalie.
And I think true. Pittsburgh has done that.
Right.
But at time, it's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, it regresses to the mean. But he was awesome. Those 2 power play or 3 power plays late in the game. The Rangers had 3 in a row. He was incredible. He made some unreal saves there. But also, I'll wait to go back to this, like spicy pork and broccoli. Like, how fucking overplayed is this story, dude? Like, they act like he had like 7 pounds of Taco Bell. It's like, he had chicken and broccoli, dude. Like, everyone's like,
well, no, he had spicy pork and broccoli.
Spicy pork and broccoli. Like it's not like is that like automatic shits or something? Everyone acting like,
I mean, sometimes there's just like, I think some fans appreciate the silly stories, and I think not necessarily the most common thing. It's kind of like if you crush like 4 hot dogs or something like that, but sometimes that's the only thing that's available. I'm actually like, that's a pretty nice meal they get during the game.
I think big fucking deal. Like whatever it is, it's like, like he was holding a fucking butthole for like the last 2 periods. Sorry.
I mentioned it earlier. I thought that in the first period, Gallant looked unhinged, just like D'Angelo did. He was fucking snapping on the bench. Did you notice that?
Michael Chiclets mode.
The way they started, what a horrible first period on the road.
More so at the refs, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was just so bent out of shape. And Kreider after the game mentioned, like, for that to be our first road period of this playoff season, like, what a failure. So, I mean, the Rangers have a lot to look upon in terms of positivity with their comeback and getting Shesterkin back next game versus Domingue. I mean, they're winning this goaltending battle. Like on paper, they should be able to end up probably tying up this series. I don't know what the line is if there's one out yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. I know Pittsburgh's at home, but I bet you the Rangers are favored.
I'll tell you. I'll say this, and we'll end it here and move on. If the Rangers lose to the Pittsburgh Penguins with no Dumoulin and a third-string goalie, we should be able to throw Avery, our Avery, from Barstool into the Hudson River, just like Sean Avery's fucking skates. So how about that one, Avery? You want to yell in my face at the live stream?
I'll call him now and see if we can get a confirmation on that.
Yeah, and then we'll make you our gambling mule.
What's up with Dumoulin?
I don't know, but he didn't play in Game 3, and I think he's a little banged up.
Rangers Penguins pick them with a 6 Monday night right now.
So if that's in New York, it's Rangers minus.
Put it on speakerphone, G.
But.
All right, boys.
Avery, hold on. We got you here on Spittin' Chiclets, and I just have to ask you a question.
You're a bum.
Biz wants to know if the Rangers lose this series to the Pittsburgh Penguins, can they throw you in the Hudson River?
No. With Louis Domingue, a third-string goalie in net, and then no Dumoulin on defense.
He says this is with Louis Domingue as their goalie and no Dumoulin on defense. He says, what's the alternative if Pittsburgh wins? Or if the Rangers win, I'm sorry.
Have him say something.
Give us a bet, Avery. Give us something to rebuttal with.
We'll give you 10 minutes, and then you can call Grinelli back, and you can think of something that's equivalent to us chucking you in the Hudson River, you bum.